Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle and I am very excited today because I received finally my little box of goodies from Studio Light and Art by Marlene. Um, so I got the journal, I've got the sun, it's like a sun stamp, the 2 mandala stamps and all of the stencils. And then I also picked up this watercolor set, which I've had my eyes on for a while. So I did have some of the release already, but I only received the rest of them this weekend when I was teaching at the art journal or the mixed media festival at K Crafts Place in Pretoria. I really wanted to use these stamps. I think they are just gorgeous. And because it was quite such a busy weekend, I thought, excuse me, that I would like to make some mandalas and just get lost in the process of coloring in mandalas. So what better way than to use these beautiful stamps? So I'm marking out on my page where I would want them, and I knew that I was going to do a lace cut page as well. Excuse my head. Sorry about that. I did pause the video eventually to get the stamping in because it was quite something to try and line up the stamps with my line that I had drawn and then with each other again. So I double stamped them to try and make like complete mandalas. And now I'm going to cut all of those edges out and I will be left with kind of a lace cut page, or I guess a waterfall page is maybe a better description for it. My blade wasn't quite sharp enough, so I was faffing about, and then I tried going in with the scissors, and then I just paused the video and I put a new blade in my craft knife, and then I cut the page. So you don't have to worry, you're not going to watch me do all of that cutting. Once I changed the blade, it actually went really quickly, believe it or not. So again, as I'm always telling you guys, if you want to do a lace cut page, make sure your blade is sharp because it will not work if the blade is blunt. Okay, so the first page, I've got those ornamental trios. I use those kind of mandala-y shapes. And then on my second page, I wanted to use the whole mandala. And I'm just going to mark out where I want the stamp to kind of be. In hindsight, I probably should have stamped out my mandalas onto some tissue paper and then glued them in with gel medium. But I also knew that I wanted to use the watercolor paints, and I wanted to see how the watercolor paints reacts with the paper. So I ended up not doing it the more sensible way, because if it was on tissue paper, it would have been easier for me to place them and to find exactly where I wanted them instead of trying to figure out by doing pencil marks and measuring and all that. Anyway, we got there in the end. So at first I thought I would just do 2, but then I really wanted to close the gaps at the top and the bottom, so that's just what I did there. And I'm just going in with a paint pen, and where I just misstamped a little bit, I'm just filling in those gaps to try and make them seem whole again, and giving everything a quick dry. And then I'm going to start playing with the watercolors. So I never really swatch my paints that I get when they're new. Normally I just start using them straight on a page to see what they can do. And that's what I did here. I did think for a second there maybe I should do a quick swatch, but then I really wanted to just get stuck in to the page. So I've taken this second color to the back there. It's like an aqua blue. It's really pretty. I was really surprised at how pigmented the paint was, because watercolor paint can be quite soft, but these were really, really lovely. And I didn't have all that much paint on my paintbrush. I'm not a watercolorist at all. So if you are, I'm sorry for all of the watercolor violations that you may witness during this page. I really just use my supplies in a way that makes me happy without any pressure, because I don't have the experience with watercolor paint, and I just try to enjoy the process, if that makes any sense at all. So that little stamp there also didn't stamp out quite as well, so I'm just completing it with my black paint pen. That is a Life of Color paint pen. They're really, really nice. They last forever. And I'm going to go into my mandalas, and I'm just going to paint all of the little bits there. I'm using, so because I had the cool colors in the background of that first page, I'm using warmer colors in the mandala shape. And really all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add color. I am going to make the top and the bottom one the same. So I'm putting the same colors down on both of them in the same places. And then obviously the middle one will be a little bit different. When I'm done doing all of the painting, I am going to go in with my coloring in pencils, and all I'm going to do with my pencils is just darken up some of the shaded areas, or where I would think the shaded areas would be. So normally closer to the bottom of the petal, I would do a little bit of shading. And then after I'm done, I'm going to go in with a paint pen, black again, and just neaten up some of my lines where I've maybe gone over. I actually do outline the whole thing, to be honest, just to make sure those lines are really black. And then later on, I go in with white as well to just add some highlights and make those images pop. And I'm going to do the first one on screen again, then I will pause the video for the rest of it, so you don't have to watch the same repetitive process for 2 hours. You'll get the idea after I've done the first one. I just repeated the process of the second one, the other two, and then on the second page I did exactly the same. So again, going in with my watercolors, and then once they're dry, I just go in with my pencils and brighten up those colors, and also paint pens to just liven them up again. So you'll see on screen just now when I do that first one, just how that mandala pops off the page once I've put all of those details in. And then around the edges of the mandalas, I did already go in with a darker blue around the edges to kind of create a bit of a shadowy look, so that they can stand out or pop off the page. But I also go in with a darker blue pencil just around those edges to make the shadows a little bit deeper. So on this page, the second one, I really wanted a good contrast between the pages so that you could see that there's a difference between them. So I'm using warmer colors on the background, and then I'll go in with cooler colors on the mandalas itself. I did also use pink and purple, naturally. How would I not use pink and purple? But they do actually stand out nicely against the background and then against the front page as well. I must just say that the darker pink color in this set is incredible. It is so vibrant. It's so pink. It really is lovely. I will probably end up finishing that pink way before the rest of the tin. So I would have to find a way to replace it. I don't think you can buy these paints as single little cubes. So I might have to just make a plan and find another brand with the same color, unless Marlene decides to make them available to buy separately. Okay, so I'm going to go quiet now, and then you guys can keep on watching the process, and I'll be back in a short while. Okay, I'm back. Now you can see how beautiful those mandalas are popping out. I did feel like the background was a little bit too bland for my liking, definitely not busy enough. So I'm just going in with the same colors that I used before, and I'm just going to make some marks with my paintbrush by smooshing it down. So I did the orange and the yellow, and then I also went in with that light pink, and I didn't use that light pink color on my mandalas, but gosh, it's beautiful. So I cannot wait to get back into that watercolor set and play around with some of the other colors a bit more. This pink really was lovely to play with, and I felt like it picked up some of the pink in the mandalas and from the front page, and it just really brought the page together. So, impatient me, I'm drying it off. I know you're not really supposed to be drying watercolors, but I did. And then it didn't dry enough, so I just put a towel over it and dried it off. And I'm doing the same with the front page, just to echo what's on the back page and make them look like they belong together. And once that is dry, I'm going to grab out the grungy texture stamp set and some colored ink. So on the back page, I used an orange archival ink, or maybe it's a StazOn ink. It's an archival ink. And I'm just adding a little bit more orange. So I know on the screen you can't really see it, but it's there in real life. And then on the front, I did go in with a blue ink as well, just to darken up again the edges of those mandalas and to make that shadow a little bit more interesting. I'm going to finish off with a quote. It says, "Use your imagination as a weapon against the everyday reality." And I'm going to snip it apart and then stick them down. Going to finish them off with a little doodly border all around and some scribbly bits. And then that's about it for this page. Thank you so much for watching this very long video. I hope it didn't bore you to death. I really enjoyed the process of just letting my mind relax a bit after a full weekend of teaching. And please like and subscribe if you have not done so yet. I'm leaving you with quite a few close-ups, and I'll chat to you again soon. Bye.